Joanne Bishop. Okay.
Because that's the direction I go.
Okay, so yesterday we talked about not inequalities. We were, well, it was inequalities, but not quite like we're doing today. Okay, the less than greater than, just kind of become familiar with the parenthesis and the bracket. Okay, so now we're gonna do some solving, mostly just the solving polynomial inequalities. So with like the factoring stuff. And yesterday you didn't have the factoring stuff. And then rational inequalities. Rational would mean there's a variable in the denominator. Okay, so what I did was I really just had a bunch of blank. And so we're just going to do some examples. Okay, so where is my pen? There's my pen. So we're going to start off with this one. I'm just starting in on some notes. If I can get through 1, 2, 3, 4 examples, I'll be good. So if you need to, yeah, I shouldn't even put box. I should just give you a blank. You're over it. Okay, so on this one, now yesterday what we did was we just solved. We just found some this basic linear stuff that we were doing yesterday. Okay, so how we're going to go about this is we're going to go ahead and factor it. So factor this. Okay, so give me two numbers. When I multiply them, I get -20. When I add them together, I get -1.
4 to -5.
Okay, so your kind of final answers down here, if you kept going with them, or what?
5 to -4.
Okay, so when you're dealing with inequalities, you're dealing with a lot of different answers. Okay, because it's all numbers that would make that less than 0. So here's how you kind of start this. You're looking at this interval of numbers. You're looking at this interval of numbers. And you're looking at that interval of numbers here.
What's the sideways 8?
Infinity.
Okay, I didn't want to say infinity, but why is it there?
Because these are our intervals of numbers. So we have all the negative numbers up to -4. And then we're looking at the numbers from -4 to 5. And then we're looking at the numbers 5 to infinity and beyond. Okay, so when you break it down into the less than, greater than, stuff like that, you have a lot of different answers. So what you want to do after you've set up these intervals is test points and see if it'll work. So give me a number between -infinity and -4.
-5.
6.
Negative whatever. Okay.
So you got 5.
Plug that in there. So let's say -6. -6 squared is 36 minus a -6
42.
minus 20.
22.
Is that number less than 0?
No, it's not.
So I kind of put an X there. Pick a number between -4 and 5.
2.
I go with something easy like 0, but you can pick what you want. Anytime I can choose 0, I'm going to choose 0. But pick just a number in between there. If you want to pick 2, pick 2. If you want to pick 0, pick 0. So if you plug in 0 in there, -20. Is -20 less than 0? Okay, then that works. So I'm just going to put a little check mark of, yep, that checks out. Give me a number between 5 and infinity.
6.
it doesn't matter. You're just testing something. So if you put 6 in there, basically, if you put 6 in here, are you going to get a positive or negative number? Because I don't need to know exactly what the number is. At the end of the day, I just want to know when I plug it in there, is it going to be positive or negative? That's all. And that's why I had the calculators in case you wanted to. You didn't want to think too much. You just want to type it in. You don't really need a calculator because, like I said, I could care less if this number is what it is. I just need to know if it's positive or negative, because negative numbers are less than 0. So yes, that works. Positive numbers are not. So this one doesn't work. So let me see what they're going to have you do here. They're going to say graph the solution set on here. So when you go into graph it, okay. Okay, so if you're going to go graph this, first of all, it's less than. So am I using brackets or parentheses? I'm using parentheses, and we said the number's between here. So when you do this, there'd be me graphing it, and the parentheses tell you to just be in between there. Those numbers will work.
What was the parentheses brackets again?
Okay. Parentheses were it doesn't include a number. So it'd be like the less than, greater than. If it's brackets like these, that's the less than or equal to, if it says equal to. It's kind of like if you look at the video I gave yesterday, it's kind of like the closed circle, open circle that you did before, but I'm just moving it to brackets and parentheses.
We had to change it.
Because it should probably always be this, but fine motor skills, I'm saying with kids, they probably have a hard time with, is that a bracket or whatever? Okay, let's look at the next one.
I have a question for the previous one.
Huh?
So parentheses are, it's not equal to.
Yeah, so -4 is not an option, but anything larger than -4 but less than 5. If it had an or equal to, then we would have done the brackets around. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this one. Without spending a ton of time on this, it's not going to be 2x and 2x. It's going to be 4x and 1. Just going to throw that out because I don't want to spend all day factoring. I mean, I know your go-to would be 2 and 2, but it won't work today. So, okay, so where am I going to put the 3 and where am I going to put the 2? So I'll end up with a 5 in the middle. Or 2 and 3, what did I say? Well, those are the things that multiply and give me 6, because 6 and 1 isn't going to work on this one.
Yeah, 4 times 2, -3.
So that'll give me 8, and this will give me 3. 8 and 3 will get me to -5, right?
What? Yeah.
Factoring. Well, I mean, do it your other way if you want to do it. If you want to multiply and get the 24 and then use the 8 and 3 and do all that, you can do that. I don't. I just kind of put this in here, and I know I'm going to use a 3 and a 2, and I just got to figure out this. Will that give me a -5? 4 times 6 is that 24, and then 8 and 3 multiply and give me 24. It was a thing we did the other day that they said they learned in Algebra 1.
How do you know that the 4x isn't split up into two 2x's?
Well, because I told them that, because normally if you were doing this problem, you'd start with 2x and 2x, and you'd find out that it wouldn't work right away.
Oh, okay.
Because if you do 2x and 2x, and you try to use a 3 and a 2, either way, you're going to get 6 and you're going to get 4, and that's not going to get you to 5. So I just told them right away. Okay, so what are my two kind of answers here?
-3, 4, and 2.
Okay, so now my intervals, I'm going to test our so with greater than or less than, you have more than one answer. It's not just an equals. Okay, so like I said before, when you're testing a number, I just really want to know, because these are all less than or whatever to 0. So I just need to know if they're positive or negative. So if you plug between negative infinity to negative 3/4, -1. Okay, if you plug -1 in there, do you get a positive or negative number?
Positive.
You get a positive number. Is a positive number greater than 0?
Yes.
Okay, that works. All right. Number between -3/4 and 2. Like I said, 0 is the easy one for me because I don't have to think at all. Is -6 greater than 0? Nope. Number between 2 and infinity, just pick 3. If I plug 3 in there, will I get a positive or negative number?
Negative.
Negative. No, positive.
Well, it's like true or false. It's true. No, it's false. Which one is it?
It will be positive.
It's positive.
Okay, so that's why I said if you want the calculator, use it, type it in real quick. If you can do it in your head real quick, that works for me. So with this one, you said you get a positive number. A positive number is greater than 0. So these two work, that one doesn't. All right, so when I go to graph, they're going to be going away from each other. So I want all the numbers that away, and I want all the numbers. And in the video, I said, if you want to shade this in a little bit, your arrow, if I'm using arrows, I just shade the end. And that's all I do. So on that one, all the numbers in between there do not work, but the ones back here and the ones going on, they do. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this one. Okay. Okay, what's the first thing you have to do? Nope. Okay, get it equal, not equal, well, equal to 0. Get that a 0 over there.
Well, now you can't take out X.
I know.
Crazy.
Okay, so now do this by grouping. What do the first two have in common?
X squared.
Okay. X squared. So you're left with 2x minus 3, right? Okay, what do the next two have in common? Yeah, -16. Okay, so if you take out a -16.
Yeah.
Math is hard, but.
No, I know a lot of people say 2, and then they're like, oh, no, wait, 8 goes in there, and they 16. Remember, when you're going by grouping, within your parentheses, you want that same thing to be seen. So if I already had a 2x minus 3, I better see a 2x minus 3. So on this one, in order to get that, it's like you'd have to divide out a negative. So just make sure those match. Okay, so now I'm going to take that out. And then I'm left with x squared minus 16. That's my other. Now, factor that x squared minus 16. What's that one going to be? Thank you, x plus 4, x minus 4. Okay, so on this one, always make sure you have a 0 on the one side. No matter which side, just make sure it's a 0. The other ones we factored, this one we factored by grouping. Just remember your parentheses have to say the same thing. Okay, and then factor it as much as you can. Like if this is a plus sign, we can't do anything with that, but this was a minus, so it's a difference of squares. So answer to this one is what?
3/2.
3/2. This is, and this is. Okay, so my intervals here are here. Okay, so I kind of have an extra one.
Nope, you lost me.
What?
Why don't you have to do like 3/2 and infinity?
Huh?
Like why don't you have to do 3/2?
Because 4 is bigger. I put them in order. The -4, the 3/2, and the 4. So if I go from negative infinity up to a negative number or the smallest number, and then I have the one between these two numbers, I have the one between these two numbers, and then that's my biggest number onto infinity.
Okay, good now.
You good? Okay. All right. So test a number. And this is where, and I'm looking at this one when I'm going back to test a number, because I just want to know, is the number positive or negative? That's all I want to know. If it's positive, then yep, that one works. If it's negative, a negative number is not greater than 0, it doesn't work. So can you test those out and tell me what works? When you use a calculator, great. If you don't, great. But at the end of the day, I just need to know, is the number you're going to get a positive number or a negative number? Positive numbers are my thumbs up. That's what I'm going to use. Negative numbers, thumbs down. I guess my X and my check mark. I guess I have an X and a check mark is how I do it.
How can you decide that it's always going to be negative?
If one number in that interval will be negative, they will all be.
No, not that. How can you decide that? Like, why is it always parentheses from what's in the bracket?
Well, the next one I'll put a bracket on there.
So
For
it's
you.
like the problem
Yeah,
already
now,
has
no,
it.
if I just slipped a little line underneath there, we'd be talking brackets and not parentheses. That's all.
So there's never going to be one where there's brackets in parentheses.
The next one will.
Brackets in parentheses.
Yes.
But there's only one sign. So how?
You'll see on the next one.
Okay.
Okay, so what did you guys end up with? I'm looking for the ones that give me a positive number, because a positive number is greater than 0. Well, don't make a mistake. What'd you get?
I don't trust myself right now.
What'd you get? Tell me what you got. I'll tell you if you're wrong.
For the first one, the negative infinity, -4.
Yep.
I got no.
X it out. Okay. Good.
The next one, I got yes.
Woohoo.
The next one, I got yes.
Yoo.
What did I do wrong? I just plugged in one.
It's a no.
Because 3/2 is bigger than 1. That's why it didn't work.
I'm like, oh, we plugged in
Okay,
1.
so 2 times 2 is 4.
And then-
Yeah.
Okay, so
That one.
why the?
Does the last one work?
Are you sure they all? So it just has to be bigger than 0, then it's correct.
Well, I'm just looking at it, it has to be a positive number. Because, look up here. Any positive number is greater than 0, correct? You're just looking at the sign. That's why if it's equal to 0, you just need to know. Like my other ones I did, like this one was less than. So I was looking for negative numbers because negative numbers are less than 0. On this one, depending on your sign, that's what you're looking for. Okay, are we all good with these right here?
And if it says less than 0, then the number
Has to be negative.
negative.
And that's why I don't even care what the number is. I just need to know if it's positive or negative. Okay, so what we got here when we graph this?
You got one closed and then one.
0.
I don't know.
So you got a -4. You got this.
You got double.
And then you got a normal 4. This worked. Okay. So these numbers in here, those work. The other numbers that worked were 4 and anything bigger than 4. So if I go here,
I see.
okay. So those are the ones that work, like the in-betweeners. And then you have anything here. And like I said, if you're that kid that wants to color this in a little bit, shade it in a little bit, just to do it. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. But like I said, make sure it's a 0 on the end. So when you go to test your numbers in there, a positive and negative, that's all I'm looking for. Okay, so I think I have a last example. We'll throw a rational one up there.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
That's gross.
That's actually not that bad.
No, that's gross.
I'm gonna say it's probably 1. Please don't be 1. Please don't be 1. Please don't be 1. Whoever is out there, please do not be 1.
So now you think you're funny, huh? Nah, I just came in here to take it down.
Okay, well,
I'm not.
okay. First thing I have to do is bring that 3 over. Okay, we good there? So far, so good.
C.
Okay, when you add 2 fractions, you need a what? Common denominator, right? Okay, so x minus 5 is my common. So I'm just going to write it like this. And see how that went. Are we okay with me doing that?
Yes.
Because it's like I multiplied that 3 top and bottom times x minus 5. But you know, common denominator, you just add and give it the common denominator. Are we okay with me doing that?
So you don't have to multiply everything on the side by x minus 5. You can just take out 3.
No, because on this side, I'm combining. I'm leaving that 0 alone. I'm combining to do a common denominator on this one. Okay, are we okay with me right here?
C.
C. Okay, so now I'm going to take that stuff times a -3.
You got any mints?
I'm so confused.
Why?
I thought you multiplied it by x plus 5.
I did. I took this times x plus 5, and then I took the bottom times x plus 5.
How did you, what? So then would x plus 5 times x minus 5 not be x minus 5?
Huh?
I'm so confused. When did you do that?
Oh.
Why did you multiply?
Oh, sorry.
Why is there a plus?
Sorry, it's a minus.
Oh, okay, thank you.
X minus 5. My common denominator would be x minus 5, sorry.
You multiplied the top and the bottom by x minus 5?
Of this, yeah.
Does anyone have a silence?
Mute, I got mute, but.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then when you add fractions with the same denominator, you just keep the same. Like 1 6 plus 2 6 is 3 6. You don't change that, and then I just need to multiply. Clean up the top.
Okay.
Clean up the top. Tell me what to get.
Negative x
Plus 8 over x minus 5.
8 over x minus 5.
Okay, so now from here, once you clean that up and you're from here, now this is what I'm looking at here. What number up top makes that 0?
Negative 8.
Just a plain old 8, right?
Yep.
Okay, on the bottom, what makes that a 0? A 5. Okay, so now I'm going to put my little 5 here, and I'm going to put my little 8 right there.
Do we not have the,
It's negative
never mind.
It's not negative 8.
It's 8.
Oh, wait, yeah.
When I put an 8 in there, it becomes 8. Okay, now which one of those numbers right there, 8 or 5, can I really, really, really not use?
5.
I cannot use that 5 but I can use 8. 8 is an answer, correct? Because you put 8 in there, you get 0. Is 0 less than or equal to 0?
It is.
It is. Okay, but the 5 we can't do. Okay, so now all you gotta do is pick a number here that's less than 5.
Or
If-
0.
Put 0 in there.
0.
If you put 0 in here, what do you get?
0.
8 over negative 5.
Is 8 over negative 5 less than 0? Okay,
It is.
this will work. Pick a number between 5 and 8.
8 over negative
0.
5.
Zero.
Negative
did
8
you
over
say 4?
5?
Just 8.
How is 8 over 5 less than
Negative
0?
5. There's a negative 5 right there.
Oh, yes.
That's what they said. Okay, 4 is not in between 5 and 8. So
0.
6.
6.
okay, so if you just plug 6, and like I said, I don't even need to know what the number is. Is it going to be a positive number or a negative number?
Positive.
It'll be a positive number up there, so that's not going to work.
No, what?
What if you put 9 in there?
It's.
I would put 10 in there. So
That would be a negative. Oh my
it would be
1 over 4.
And the thing is, like I said, I don't even need to know what, if I put 9 in here, that gives me a negative over a positive. That's a negative number. Is a negative number less than or equal to 0?
Less than. Yeah.
All right, so on this one, I just didn't make the intervals here. I just put my numbers on there. So with this one, you said all numbers this way.
Yeah.
So, and we said we can't use 5. 5 is a no-go.
Why do we not have the bracket?
The bracket is used right here. So there's my bracket.
Why?
because you can use 8, but you can't use.
I can have a 0 in the numerator, and also it's an or equal to. Your denominator, no matter what you're doing, is not a number you can use. So on this one, you said all numbers this way and all numbers this way work, but 8 does work. It's an equal to. If that wasn't an or equal to, then you just parenthesis it up. But on that one, you have to make sure you bring that number over. 0 has to be on that side. Okay. That's all I'm doing. I'm done.
So we didn't do 3 boxes?
Yeah, I think I just threw a bunch of boxes. I didn't know how many I needed. Okay, so here's the deal. This is the end of chapter 1.
What does that mean?
Can you make like a study guide?
Can I have one?
Everything and give us that one day.
Can I have one? No, she don't do that. Can I have one?
Yeah.
She don't study with us. She just give us the information and take the test.
So
No
like we're gonna have a
review
test
day.
Monday.
And you
No.
want to steal one of my grapes. You're
It's a
awful.
review day, but you have to come with questions. She don't give you nothing to review it. You gotta like go through your past work.
I just meant like, are we gonna come in Monday with a test?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
You can come in with a work day. What I have told kids in the past, if they wanted to look at something, you could look at the chapter test in the book. If they wanted something that throws everything together, if you want to look at that. Review days really should just be you coming to me and going, okay, section 1.3, number 20. I didn't get that. Like the most of it, but like I said yesterday in the video, if you don't get number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, then we have a problem.
You didn't want to break until I did.
Huh? I had them open over here. It's my lunch.
Group lunch was the
Yeah, right after you left.
This is really nice. I'm sitting here eating grapes for your video.
That's why I left.
really